until that moment, I never really paid attention to what I was doing with my money.
Here we are. Episode 3. We've started to progress. We are working our way towards the 8-episode barrier. It's a milestone in podcast. They call it the pod fade, which is where new podcasts, they fade out, they die off, the enthusiasm, the energy dies off. It gets too hard to keep putting out content. So that's our first goal, really. To become in the top 50% of podcasts, you also need to have 125 streams on your latest episode in that 30-day period. So we've already done that. On the first episode, we did, I think, about 230 so far on all platforms. So that's really exciting. But
awesome.
I mean, it's not us that got the 230 up, so thank you guys.
Big thank you guys.
So appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good start. But before we get into this show...
Sorry, I'm just going to...
I can't keep going yet because
we can keep going. We can leave him out.
Luke needs to explain the shirt he's chosen to wear today. Christmas in what, April?
Yeah, Christmas. Well, early for Christmas in July.
Yeah.
Christmas in April. I didn't have a shirt to wear.
Yeah.
I had a black shirt on, similar to yours. I'm like, fuck that. So
I wanted to be matchy-matchy.
This is what we're with. Good luck matching with this.
Yeah, very difficult.
We said we were going to get cactuses and some plants in here, and Luke's just done it through a shirt.
We're full of shit.
We could do that, you know. We could do.
We've already done it. Look at that.
We could do random shirt days or something like that. I've got some funky stuff.
Yeah.
Funky Sundays.
Actually, one thing I will say is make sure you guys subscribe. If you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell notification. Very shortly, we're going to have YouTube clips coming out as well. So you'll have the full podcast, which you can watch, but there'll also be shorter compressed versions, 5-10 minute clips. I love watching the JRE clips as well. It's a great way to get sort of just very specific pieces of information from the show, and it's very digestible too.
Yeah, get an idea what the show's about and that kind of thing. So
I guess
hear more about Northwest, that sort of stuff.
That sort of shit.
Yep.
People want to keep up to date with that. People like that.
Yes.
That was a good off the cuff joke by me. I'll pat myself on the back there.
Might be the only, but we'll see how we go.
Potentially. What's new this week?
Well, not this week, but recently I've been reading a book. Well, finished the book now, but made me reevaluate, a lot of things in my life. It was The Barefoot Investor. So if you know me, you've probably known that I've talked about it a bit, but really changed my perspective on a lot of things I'm doing with life, or the way I was approaching money at least.
Yeah, fill people in about what the book covers.
Yeah, start us off there.
Start us off.
Epiphany Moment.
Yeah, Epiphany Moment. So just casually, Saturday night dinner, the family one, you know about it by now. The family dinner at my cousin's house. Come across this book. He's like, oh, that's my doorstop. I never use that. So I'm like, I pick it up. I just start reading. It's The Barefoot Investor. It made me realize that until that moment, I never really paid attention to what I was doing with my money. So before I got the job I had now, which is full-time, I worked part-time through uni. And I was like, never really able to save that much money. I'm like, when I get a full-time job, that's when I'll start to be able to save. I'll have more money to spend. Yada, yada, yada. Get the full-time job, able to save a little, but I'm like, still don't know where half my money goes.
Where did it go? Have you figured it out? Is it a hole in your bank account?
It's just no hole in bank account.
Is it subscriptions?
In the form of food.
Bad.
Like eating out. Not even food.
He told us about it. It was the 2 packets.
Yeah, it literally
is 2 packets.
So many people do that though, especially when they go from like that part-time job to full-time job. They're like, oh my God, adult money. And then they just start buying like
2 bags of lollies a day.
Well, that's like $3. That's
some
it's just eating out.
That's some addiction sort of shit. That's like crack addict.
That's what brought on the keto. Stuff. That's what brought on the keto.
That's extreme. Anyway, sorry.
It's not, because it kind of parallels in that way in terms of the addiction, but it's more easily accessible. Like sugar's so easy to get your hands on.
It is.
Yeah.
But back to the book, it just made me realize that the money kind of controlled me. I had no control of what was happening with my money.
Yeah, Did you know what was happening at that point? Your money, you knew where it was going?
No, I didn't pay much attention. It wasn't until I bought this new car. I'm like, signed up to a few years of debt. I'm like, I'm going to make these payments now. Like, they're monthly payments. They're not weekly. So I've got to actually think about where I'm putting it. So I stumbled across this book and I'm like, I don't actually know where half of my money goes. And consciously, I don't know. I obviously figured out it just goes to eating out.
Yeah, sure.
Wasting on random, getting dinner when you shouldn't get dinner. Just
have you gone?
So
have you gone and used the book to, I guess, have you started the process yet? How did you start? What did the book talk about? I mean, give them a little bit of info regarding
I haven't read the Barefoot Investor, so
yeah, but as well. Initially it's just get rid of all the useless fees. So if you're with a bank that's charging you random fees, just get rid of it. Start thinking about ones that there's no account fees, no keeping fees.
Do you reckon you've saved much? Like, do you know how much you would have saved by just minimizing on menial fees?
At the moment, I haven't saved much because I'm now in the process of one of the first things I want you to do after you organise your accounts is get rid of the debts. Like, first debt I've got, it's just a car, but it's the one. So my main focus now is doing that.
That's good.
Also did up a budget, just like putting all my money in. Now, this wasn't necessarily Barefoot because he lays it out like keep 60% for expenses, 10 for a smile saving account, which is like things that you're saving up to that you're going to that you're going to enjoy. A splurge, like eating out and that kind of stuff, that's also 10%. And then 20% into fire extinguisher for like emergencies and all that. But, so I did that initially. I like that idea, but that doesn't come into play till all your debts are paid off. So initially it's just aim everything at paying off those initial debts. So I kind of organised my money, saw it was all going, and on the process to making that like 7-year loan, a 3.5-year loan. Which
awesome.
Is good.
So you've cut down expenses.
Cut down on the eating out, more conscious about where I put my money. So,
and you're starting to pay down debt? Is that the way they break it down? Reduce menial expenses, pay down debt, and then is it to get you to start saving or investing?
Start saving and investing. They talk a lot about super. I can't remember the details, but I believe he recommends after you've paid your debts and the only debt you have is a home loan. Homes are important.
It's a good debt. It's a good debt.
That's a good debt.
It's a good debt to have.
I argue different, but we'll go into that.
Yeah, but this is the way he talks about going about it. So that's the only debt you want to have in your life. Essentially that. Pay for everything else with cash. Just avoid debt.
Yeah.
Be in control of your money.
I think debt's a good thing to have when the asset is paying you in return. Yep. So if it's a house that's being rented out, it's paying you. So the debt should be serviced by the tenant because you're taking on the risk of the debt. I think in that sort of circumstances, perfectly fine to have. It's a great thing to have because it leverages your income, your returns. A bad debt, I would say, is like a car, is the jet ski, the boat. That's not a good debt to have because it goes down in value.
Depreciate.
And it gives you jack shit in return, other than a mechanic bill as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you've definitely got to... We'll go all the way back to beginning the process. My partner and I, we started by $1,000 emergency fund. So
that's right.
We share a joint account now, but $1,000 emergency fund, you can't go wrong with that. It's the fund where, oh shit, my car just absolutely crapped itself. What can I do right now? It's the holy crap, my son just broke his leg. There's a little bit of money for it. We start off.
You don't have kids, by the way.
No, I don't have kids.
But hypothetically,
but that's the whole concept.
In 9 months' time,
mate. Is you got to start somewhere. So I don't know how you're going in terms of your emergency fund, but a lot of different financial figureheads, they talk about this sort of thing. Obviously, cut down those really basic expenses like banks charging you money just to hold your fees, your cash. I think that's so stupid to even just let that occur. Phone bills is another one. People pay so much yearly on a phone bill, and there's always something better. Always. You can hop bank accounts as well. Yep. Like you don't owe them anything because they're not going to do anything.
Especially for interest too.
Yeah.
Shop around for your term deposit.
That's what I noticed.
Your best savings account. Westpac have a good one at the moment for I think 18 to 29-year-olds. You've got to.
It's 5 transactions.
I don't like that though.
My partner and I use it. It's bloody excellent.
But as a savings account, I don't want my savings to be something I have to spend in order to get a better interest rate.
It really depends. In my opinion, if you're super disciplined regarding your money, it is so worthwhile. Fine. I mean, the way that we manage that, we don't ever make big transactions out of that account. It will literally be like a $1 Slurpee.
Okay.
5 times.
You go to 7-Eleven for it. Your petrol
literally,
or something like that.
No, I wouldn't even pay the petrol because I'm taking too much out of the account. I look at what is the smallest value I can remove from that account in order to have the benefits. And that sort of stuff pays off. I mean, when the Barefoot Investor first came out, they used what's that bank? That's the orange
ING, I think
ING.
it was.
That's it. Because they had a massive benefits. It's definitely worthwhile to shop around
as well. Yeah,
get your money's worth.
That's what I found. The easiest process was just taking the time to change bank accounts. Because for whatever reason, I built up in my head like, oh, there's going to be cancellation fees. There's going to be this. There's going to be a hassle. You literally send a message saying, I want to close these accounts. You open up a new one. Make sure your money's transferred over. It's the easiest process in the world.
You don't even need to, well, in your case you did because you were getting charged account fees, but when I'm doing shopping around for the best interest rate, I won't even cancel. I'll leave $1 in just in case something changes and I want that account. For whatever reason, I just don't like to shut things out because I'm not getting charged a fee for it. But yeah, it's super easy to start one, pay the other account.
Yeah, shopping around is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer. I mean, you do the same with your fuel, right? And you'll go a kilometre extra to get cheaper fuel. Would you not spend 5 minutes on your phone to get a cheaper or a more beneficial interest rate? It's a must, in my opinion.
What else have you learned? What are you doing today to make it better tomorrow?
Well, today I'm just budgeting, but the next thing is later on is the investing. That's always been the thing that scared the shit out of me. Like the stock market shares, I'm like, oh, it's too complicated. It's like gambling. That was my kind of mindset.
Did you ever learn it in school or anything?
Nah, never learnt it in school and just
Never
didn't have
looked at
much. Yeah, never even crossed my mind to even do that. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. It's too difficult. Just didn't even put the.
I think
leave that for Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, didn't even look to think about it. I'm like, just saving.
That's where we were fortunate, I guess, is that we had a lot of our maths teachers explain to us really, really early on in high school the importance of putting the smallest amount of money aside in order to build something
For me,
special.
that's my accounting teacher.
Yeah, well, I had
Who's actually Demi's, Demi's uncle, Mr. Mihos, who's my brother's accounting teacher at the moment. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. No, I think it's really valuable just to start small. As I said, like that $1,000 emergency fee. My partner and I at the moment follow Dave Ramsey's financial guide.
Love Dave Ramsey too. Yes. He's the other one I've been watching on YouTube hard. He's such an
honestly,
interesting
for those who want to get started on the journey, my two resources would be the Barefoot Investor, then the Dave Ramsey Show. Everything I've learned has been from those two resources, and the information there is invaluable. But basically, we've started $1,000 emergency fee. We built that ASAP. That was like a must. You've got to do that just in case.
Yep.
We've now built that up, a fair bit.
Good. Create a buffer.
Yeah, you have to have it.
Wages, don't they recommend? They always find it's 3 to 6 months or expenses.
Yeah, no, but the thing is as well, I'll relate this back to even a real world thing. My old man, when he had some surgeries on his wrist or on his knees for knee reconstructions, he couldn't go to work, right? Especially his wrist. Does a lot of engineering works, can't use computers or anything like that. And that extra money that you've got set aside, some people call it emergency fund, rainy day fund, it's there for those sort of scenarios where you can then take the time to recover properly and you don't have to stress about getting back to work immediately. You've got that little buffer just to help you. I think it's massively important to lowering stress. You don't have to worry about things as much.
Yeah. How do you feel about investing now? Do you still see it as the gambling?
Well, not as much as I used to. Like I've started to realize, because they talk about in the book, Dave Ramsey talks about it too, because he's literally the other one I look at tons of. But like looking into safer investing, like whatever the index and mutual funds, but doing your research
ETFs,
before, all that kind of stuff. I still a bit in like deep water at the moment. Don't know what to look for yet, but working my way trying to learn just so I can start putting money into it. At the moment, I choose one of those apps, one of the investing apps that just has a balance thing, but. Yeah.
Luke touched on it, definitely one of the other episodes around the Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah.
Now, sure, that tangent was a little bit hectic, talking about betting for some Pokemon cards, but the concept there is very important, which is your investing can be broken down into two fronts. The first front would be like those really high risk, high reward things, for example, like what Luke was talking about. And usually I view that as that little bit of fun money that you've got. If you can separate some aside to put towards that fun investing, that gamble, if you will, that can really pay off, especially when you do your homework. But then something that I always default back to is those 1 to 5% growths. Like that is the money maker when you're compounding week after week after week.
Compound interest, it's the word of the week. It's the word of the week.
What a concept. I didn't even thought about this thing. Like, just reinvest your interest.
Albert Einstein said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I'm starting to see that.
It's a magical thing, especially when you get in an Excel spreadsheet and you realize in the 40th to the 50th year in our life, if we start early, just the difference each year makes when things are compounding and they're just snowballing and building on top of each other, and then that year's gets added to the snowball.
Yeah.
And then it gets, the percentage continues on from that, and it just creates this big snowball. And it makes a big difference.
That PDF in the Barefoot Investor, because I listened to it on Audible, they had a little PDF, just you broke down compound interest if you just invest $5,000 a year from when you're
which is 100 a
15.
week. That's 100 a week.
From 15 and from when you're 25, difference is $1 million over
starting 10 years apart.
45-year period? Yeah, whatever. By the time you're 60. It's $1 million difference. One's 1.7, one's 2.
Which is $100K a year difference.
Crazy.
No, it's
didn't even think about it.
Vital that you do this sort of stuff, especially when you're young. But let's just put into perspective for those who may only just be hearing about this topic now. We say, you realistically want to start investing when you're like 15. Okay, well, shit, maybe you haven't heard about it till you're 30. Yeah. Sure. You're still not too late to jump on the bandwagon. Like, it is really... I think it's probably the most important thing to do with your money is to just get shit sorted. Get it down into categories. Get an Excel spreadsheet up. If you don't know how to get an Excel spreadsheet up...
They've got apps too.
Apps. There's so much out there that'll help you. And it will make your life better.
I don't even think it matters what age you start. Just the sooner, the better.
Yeah, start now.
That's it. Doesn't matter if you're 45, doesn't matter if you're 65 or you're 14.
I'll bring this one up. Have you guys heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Haven't heard of it, but Luke did recommend that's the next book I should look into.
So I'll delve in on this one. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was the concept that if you, as the dad, are going towards better financial future, your kids are going to follow suit. And that'll start really early, like the 15, maybe even the 8-year-old mark. They might start saying, oh, Dad, can I wash the car for $10, et cetera, et cetera. And that'll just progress and snowball, as Luke said. And they found that people who practice the concept of rich dad, poor dad, they ultimately had better, more successful children. They got further. They got their first house earlier.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about Rich Dad Poor Dad, because Barefoot Investor was, I feel like from what you're telling me, is very practical, tidbits to look at, assess things. Whereas Rich Dad Poor Dad gives you the mindset of a rich person, and it compares it to, he's saying, a poor person, which he references someone who earns a paycheck week to week and sort of lives week to week. And it's adjusting your mindset to get into the habit and realization of saving to invest, because saving won't get you rich unless you're some brain surgeon with great savings habits. But even then, you're still not wealthy. You're still creating wealth is something else. That's where
all your eggs are in one basket anyway. If you're doing that,
well, that as well, yeah. So I think Rich Dad Poor Dad would be like a great resource for you, and it'll help you understand with investing too.
And the way it breaks down, like the simplicity of it all, like it's just discipline. It's mainly discipline and knowing where your money's going. That's the main thing to being like financially secure.
The big thing as well that I took and my partner took out of the Barefoot Investor was wine night. So in the book, they talk about this concept of your significant other, or you and someone who you trust. You basically sit down as often as possible, as long as you can deal with each other and not throw a hissy fit and rip each other's hair out. And you talk about the really small things. Like we said just before, $3 on lollies, or you might be going and buying a coffee every day. Now, let's be real. Coffee every day, it can be anywhere from $3 to $8.
This is one of the things I got to him, because I feel like when we met, you were buying 2 a day,
maybe 2 a day. Yeah.
It was bad.
Some days definitely 2.
And I think I tried to explain to you, like, that's $50 a week over 5 work days at $5 a pop. So
yeah, it's huge. So basically, the wine night, they talk about how do you tackle those really small things. And definitely, Luke, I think that you reading the Barefoot Investor, you will get that entirely. You'll be like, oh my god, wine night. I mean, my partner and I, we just we just hang out at home, have a cup of tea, talk about it, just set mini goals. Like we might say, oh, how could we possibly try to save 65% of our paycheck until the next paycheck? And we will look at literally every possibility that we can utilize in order to save that money.
I feel like the point to bring up as well is it's not like you're being a tight ass, because it can sound tight assy, but really it's just looking at like from the wine nights, it's looking at doing the same concept of a date night, glamming it up, wine, like turning it into a thing. You can do cheeses and stuff like that. Still an amazing evening, just from what you're telling me. Yeah. But you don't have the $180 paycheck. Sorry, not paycheck, but bill of going out to Ling Ling's.
Well, even in the Barefoot Investor, he spoke about how he and his partner, they would, to coin the term tight ass, they'd be tight ass Monday to Saturday, and then their date night would be lavish. They'd get dressed up. He'd be suit and tie, button shirt.
Whatever.
She'd be in a dress, and they'd go out and they'd spend $100, $200 on a date. And that was their thing. That's how they got into the mindset of, let's save some money.
And I guess I guess there's levels to shit. There's fucking levels. We're not all on this. No, as in like, there's people who are on a different level to us. There's a few people. Everyone's starting to get a better grip on their finances. I love hearing stories when just like chatting to friends and like girlfriends, and they're telling me that they're listening to Shiz on the Money. I've never listened to the podcast, but it sounds like a great podcast just by like giving finance tips to girls. But even like entertainment people have been paying more attention to their finances. Creators, Jake Paul has just created a fund with Jeffrey Wu, not David Dobrik.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. Jimmy Donaldson has created a fund as well. He's called it the Juice Fund, where he's investing in creators, buying stakes in creators.
That's really awesome. How do you guys feel around the concept of, like, for these guys who are massively wealthy? We said before that you guys think houses are a good debt. Do you think doing stuff like this is a good debt? I mean, Mr. Beast is banking on the fact that whoever he puts his money on is going to put in the hard yards to make that worthwhile. What do you think if you were in their position?
I think it's a risk reward thing, and because on one side of the grid you've got risk, and the other side you've got reward. So the more risk, the more reward. And I think by being able to pallet the risk, it justifies the reward. For me, I wouldn't go bet on someone else because there's so much room for me to grow. So I should be betting on myself first. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But for someone like Jake Paul launching a fund with Jeffrey Wu, he's done a bunch of projects. He's got one called NVMH, the latest brand he's launched, which sells... he sells ketones, ketone...
supplements?
Yeah, ketone supplements,
ketone
esters.
They're the stuff that get you into ketosis
makes it faster.
Yeah.
They're pretty expensive to get, but apparently they are proven. But yeah, Jake Paul, I mean, he's investing... I like the way that they're doing it, because they're investing 100K to $1 million in... 100K, in like from like I think 1 to 10 startups each quarter. So like I think the total investment each quarter is $1 million. So they're either diversifying that quarter by going 100K in 10,
or they're all in on one.
Exactly.
Okay.
So but then they're doing it each quarter, and I don't like that because they're just sprinkling. So.
Hey, shout out Jake Paul and Jeffrey Wu. If you want to drop 100,000 on this podcast, hey, shit, I'll put in some hard yards.
Yeah, but Jake Paul's got other things going too.
Definitely
Jake Paul has a big weekend ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting Ben Askren, out of retirement, MMA star, wrestling star. Jake Paul's just knocked out Nate Robinson. Bad knockout. I don't even think the fight should have gone as long as it did, because that got ugly for Nate Robinson.
Well, that's a YouTuber versus a basketball player.
Yeah, it's a little different.
A little bit different this time. He's versing someone who's actually got some real fight experience.
But he doesn't have boxing experience. Jake Paul does. Still YouTuber, but he's done boxing training for a couple of years.
Dino and I were talking about this off podcast around Pierre, who was the fella MMA fella.
George St. Pierre.
That's it.
Yeah,
couldn't say his name for the life of me. We were talking about how he has trained for so many months around wearing down people's reaction times. And when you put someone like Jake Paul, sure, he's training, but does he really have that fighter's mentality of like this Will versus Rock sort of scenario? Like he's not going to crack at all. Whereas, I don't know, if you've done MMA and you've been in some fights, you've been in some wrestling before, you might be a little bit more up to scratch, you know what I mean?
And one of the big things about Ben Askren too is throughout his whole MMA career, until the end when he got knocked out with a knee to the face.
Jorge Masvidal. Yeah.
Until he got knee to the face and got knocked out, which would knock out anyone on the planet. He had a chin. Like, you couldn't knock that guy out.
Well, he got hit in the ear. I mean, it was bad.
Mark Hunt, he's got a chin.
They all have a chin, but he
was a beast.
I don't think Jake Paul is going to knock him out. If he can't knock him out, is he going to win? Is he going to be able to last that whole...
Yeah, and that's what
how many rounds are they doing?
That's what I'm looking for that now. It won't be 12 rounds because it's not a championship fight. It's most likely going to be 8. I can't find anything now. And Justin Bieber and Snoop Dogg are on the undercard. Not on the undercard, but they'll be performing beforehand. I think it'd be cool. We can on the undercard.
Yo, man.
Snoop's just getting rid of that reefer, just putting it out as he comes into the ring.
Chill.
Yeah. What's up, G? No. I can't find it, but I think. There's been some good trash talk leading into the fight.
Jake Paul always is, though. That dude talks so much shit.
He said Ben Askren's wife was curvy. Or no, thick. Thick was the
Did
terminology.
He say she was a 4 or was that the last? Like he's coming
I think he might have said that to McGregor. That McGregor's wife was a 4. That's what he's asking for it. He's asking for his chin to be tickled.
Also, what was that little shenanigans that he had on stage where he Ben said something snarky and he come over and give him a little love tap in the side? You guys see that?
I think that was in one of the... Was it a press conference?
Yeah, one of the press... But even... Yeah.
Bro, is Ben Askren the smartest?
He was known also for his great trash talk leading up to fights.
This is smart on his part.
Who knew Ben Askren? I didn't know Ben Askren before this.
If you didn't know MMA, you probably didn't... Or you weren't
think
like
you
a
had
follower.
To be, yeah. That's my point. He's on... Like, he's mainstream media now. It's
a money move.
It's genius. He's just created a whole... avenue of ways for him to go down. He's a wrestling coach, so I can't imagine how that will go after the fight.
Well, if you lost, dude, your career would be in the... Yeah, definitely.
As a wrestling coach...
I'm going to send my son to go to this guy's wrestling boot camp so he can get his ass whooped. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, it's like you're not a good soccer player, but you can still teach me... Like, they're fucking different.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can...
I don't think there's any losing for Ben Askren. Even if you lose the fight, he was in the box, he was a wrestler. Like, he's fine.
But
it'll be shameful because he was a professional athlete, especially a fighter. He'll feel like shit, but I don't think he'll lose any.
But that's the whole point of these martial sports is that when you throw boxing in the same ring as wrestling, yes, there's a little bit of underdog mentality around the wrestling because you don't have the same range, but the whole point of wrestling is to close the range and to be inside that guard. I mean, that's literally what Mike Tyson's fighting style was, that peekaboo style, where 1 minute he's an arm and a bit away from you, and then 2-3 shuffles, and he's right inside your rib cage, hitting you with a hook and then an uppercut. Like, that was signature. So I think that it's definitely valid to say that, Jake Paul's going to get his ass whooped.
Yeah, I do think.
Wow.
I do not think Jake Paul will win this fight.
Wow, what?
I do not think so.
He's getting his shit beaten.
No.
I mean, he's fought a basketball player. By all accounts, his training looks really good.
Has he trained for wrestling, though? Dude, if you
it's
inside...
only a boxing fight, though, but... It's only boxing, so it's not... If it was MMA, he's got no chance.
But Jake Paul is smarter than that. He's doing a boxing fight with someone who's not a boxer. But
do you think it's win-win for him too? Because he loses to a ex-professional fighter. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Everyone wants to see Jake Paul lose. I want to actually get the fight. I think that's why. I mean, I don't hate Jake Paul like a lot of other people do. I'm unfazed by him.
You just root for him to lose.
I don't care. I think he'll win. I think he will win because he's not fighting a boxer. and he hasn't fought a boxer yet, and he has done boxing training. So I don't know. I'm trying to pull up the odds here just to.
I think it's all wins though. All wins for these two
I
guys.
don't think so either.
I think it's all wins for everyone involved. Lose, win, they're gonna win. Yeah.
So Jake Paul, right? Everyone wants to see him fail. He's had so many little instances like that Japanese suicide forester video.
That was Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, pardon me.
His was the rioting. He got filmed.
That's right, rioting.
Yeah.
But there's so many little things like that.
What happens if Jake Paul loses? What happens to his boxing?
Nothing. He won't fight legitimate fighters, but he'll still have that YouTube market. He'll fight other YouTubers. And that kind of crap. Yeah, he'll still make a lot of money that way. He might just not be a legitimate boxer.
He won't be taken seriously.
Does he want to be a legitimate boxer? I don't think he does.
I feel like.
I think he backs.
Have you seen the videos he's been putting up of him training? I think he wants it. I think he wants to be legitimate.
Do you think there's a professional boxing career after this then? Do you think that's what
I don't know, but I think he's got a chip on his shoulder where he wants to prove to people that he can be taken seriously as not just a YouTuber. He's doing rapping, as a rapper, as a boxer. I think that's what he's going for. I think
he
he's
wants
trying
to be
expand.
the Ducks nuts.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I still can't find the odds here on Sportsbet. But
must be a rigged fight.
Maybe.
A what?
Must be a rigged fight.
Rigged fight? No. Get off that sort of garbage. Do you think that let's just say, for argument's sake, that Ben is just terrible at boxing. He gets in there, he's just getting smacked in the head.
We've seen videos
over and over and over again.
He's bad.
Let's just say that he gets his ass whooped, right? Do you think that like you guys have obviously seen some post-fight pictures of people getting their faces all blown up, mangled. Same happens for Ben, maybe. You're saying Jake Paul wins. You reckon Ben gets his face mangled? Has some brain injuries afterwards?
Nah, I don't think so.
Entry into CTE.
Yeah.
Hang on. Sorry, I was just gonna say the odds. Sportsbet has Jake Paul as a favourite head-to-head. He's paying $1.63. Ben Askren's paying $1.18. Just looking at the fluctuations.
That means Ben Askren's the favourite. $1.18.
No, he's $2.18. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. $1.18. Yeah.
No, so $1.63 Jake Paul, $2.18 Ben Askren.
Yeah, cool.
I agree with the odds. We'll find out on Sunday. We'll find out. But CT is a serious thing.
Yeah, and that's why this is one of the things why I'm like, why do these YouTubers want to get into sports like
it's brutal.
Boxing, especially? This is why I don't think Jake Paul is seriously wanting to. That's why he's not going up against legitimate boxers. At least he chose a wrestler to fight. Like I think,
but baby steps though. I mean, you can't just jump in the deep end of the pool and expect to swim from minute one.
But surely by now he's smart enough and he's rich enough to know about these things like CTE, which for those of you who don't know is the chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a brain disease that happens from consistent traumas to the brain, and
it's your brain shaking around and hitting the walls inside your head,
and not even dependent on concussions. It's just from constant battering.
Yeah, it can be
time.
Really minor.
Yeah, like there's not a story in the America of an ex-NFL player like.
What was his name? Here it is.
There you
go. Philip Adams, South Carolina shooting. He shot 5 people, followed by killing himself. It's in America. It's pretty standard. That's not really news.
Like the CT thing or the shootings?
The shooting.
It's both
not
are
really
pretty
news.
standard.
What sort of classification does that come under? Because I think is it a mass murder?
I believe so.
Something above 3.
It just depends where it happened. If it was all in one spot or if
it
moved. But
true.
It's a hell of a lot of people to kill. Hey, like just to wake up one morning and just go, "Holy shit, I'm done with this."
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, but he committed suicide as well after he killed the 5 people. So 6 people died from the incident. Yeah, wow. He was a former NFL player. I'm not sure who he played for.
We can find out.
I can check that now.
But yeah, long story short, they're suspecting that like a lot of these NFL players suffer CTE, and they're wondering, and they're going to look into if maybe this fella had suffered a little bit of CTE. Basically,
they think he did. They think he did.
It can cause all sort of behaviors. One of it is like severe depression, and then
Seattle
followed
Seahawks,
by
New York Jets, Las Vegas Raiders, formerly Oakland Raiders.
He's played for a few people.
He moved around a little bit.
Yeah, but basically it can be various effects. But some people suffer really bad depression and then followed by bouts of violence and et cetera, et cetera.
Have you seen the Will Smith movie, Concussion?
Yeah.
That's a cool movie. It's on Netflix.
Yep, it's awesome.
I watched it maybe 6 months ago. Very cool movie. I had chills watching the movie, and I found myself doing a lot of research and just reading up on it afterwards because I wasn't aware of CTE. I hadn't heard of it before. It's common in boxing, which is, like you brought it up, but it's surprising to me that people who have money and success, well, at least from our point of view, are wanting to get into it, risk it.
Yeah.
A lot of NFL players, NRL here in Australia.
But the thing is, it's not even back to like the concept of it being minor brain damage that can bring about this sort of disease. It can be skiing, like Nordic skiing or downhill skiing. That juddering as you're going down and your head's rattling around. If you're doing that for hours and hours and hours each month, year after year after year, from when you were a child all the way through to middle-aged adult, like that can bring about elements of the CT.
Are there many cases like that? Like, there's a lot in the NFL. There's a lot of cases, and it's very well linked and talked about.
But do you know why that comes about more so in NFL? Is because due to like the padding that they wear, the helmets they wear, people lead with the head, they lead with the shoulder, and there's you don't have to, and not that you don't have to. People think less about their own safety because it's thought about by someone prior to them. And so they get on the field and they just go, yep, fantastic.
That's a good point as well.
Yeah.
Because you've got medics looking after you. You've got doctors on your team. You've got
There's so many teams there. There's offensive, defensive, medical.
As well,
like, there's everyone.
And they have taken steps. They do not allow head-to-head hits anymore. Any hits that had essentially are banned and you'll get thrown out of the game, or at least penalised heavily for it. Like, they do try to.
But think about this. If I'm running in a straight line and you come from my right-hand side and just hit me as hard as you can, whether or not you hit me in the head, that contact of my head to the floor, that causes the rattling sensation. That causes that bruising of brain tissue. That brings about the CT. So they really need to delve into
it's hard.
How do you solve these sort of problems, or how do you bring about more information for the parents who are getting their kids into the sport? I mean, we have...
That's where it has to start. Yeah,
we have here in Australia and NZ and a lot of the countries that play NRL and rugby union, there's no more... There's basically like weight guides for younger teams. You can't be 8 years old and 60 kilo, running in and just smashing someone in the head.
They've implemented that?
Yeah, especially in NZ because, I mean, the population is more inclined to have a heavier profile, and so they just got these young kids who just walk in age 6, just like...
Well, that's what Zach at work talks about, going up against Samoans who... are built different.
Yeah,
they're built different.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
they can hit different.
Hurts harder.
Especially like, I don't know what level the guy that we're a mate of ours plays at, but when you're going up against men, but as a 13-year-old who you're going up against someone who looks 18, like, does it become boxing where teams are selected not so much on age but on weight and size?
Yeah.
Like,
so
is that
I
don't know.
never thought of it that way, but I don't know. I don't know if you could do that at the very top level. Younger age groups for sure. Yeah. For sure.
But there's also outrage. Like, if my child's 8 years old, but he's unfortunately a freak of nature, I don't want him playing against 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds. Like, their bone density is different. Their mindset's different. They're going to come in there and just think...
You develop. You get better as a player.
Yeah, but you also might get hurt. Might get hurt.
It just depends.
I know.
It depends.
But yeah,
it's a hard one. They even think football, like heading a ball in soccer. Like,
that causes problems with your neck all the time.
Up to a certain age, I can't remember the age now, but there's a certain age where you're not allowed to head a football in grassroots football anymore. You can't head the ball. There's no heading allowed.
Is there a point where it's too much? Like, I think
possibly.
I don't know, because there's a weird mix. Because sport is a physical activity, and that's, I think, why we appreciate it. That's why we love watching a boxing match or an MMA match, because it's two people, male or female, they're going at it. They are literally doing everything physically they can to the other person. Like, boxing, there's a couple of rules. MMA, there's, I don't think, any rules.
Oh, there's a lot of rules.
Hitting in the dick is a
you
thing.
can't poke in the eye.
Yeah.
There are some rules, but it's still brutal to the head.
But I think that's like one of the draws to it. anywhere. A fight breaks out, people pay attention. It's like a human instinct. It draws in attention.
Yeah, what you're saying is like we can't just babysit people their whole
can't
life. And we
Especially
can't wrap them
adults.
up in
Adults. We can't cotton wool people, but understand kids are different. Maybe there's an age point at which it becomes okay to fucking go all out.
Yeah, but where do you cut that line? Because some people might say, all right, well, let's just use men as an example. So you might say that age 16 is okay, because at age 16, most people are beginning that development and they should be able to physically exert themselves. Otherwise, they have no other outlets in society. Some people might say age 18, because that's where most men either are halfway through or ending their physical development.
They say 25 is the age that your brain actually fully
so
develops.
where do you cut it off? Maybe, we can't bubble wrap people.
Yeah, no. And I don't want sport to get worse because of the bubble wrapping.
Inevitably it would. Better. The quality would, because you can't train everything perfectly, can you?
But is it maybe then, okay, fuck it. Do your thing, do all of it, but we're going to better educate you as a 5-year-old, 10-year-old.
We might have to.
These are the risks.
I think that is where you have to do it, because you don't want to take away the ability for people to choose what they want to do, especially as they grow up and refine the skills in what they're doing. Maybe limit some rules,
but also
no head contact till a certain age,
Yeah.
and strict education on what could happen if you choose to keep doing this for a long time.
I think that's definitely what they need to look towards, because even just take away from the physical the injury element of sport, you still have to have some physical outlet in society. Otherwise, people will just have all this pent up emotions and they'll just go crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Can't get rid of all of it.
But slight change of pace. But Australian basketball, Chris Middleton, who is the partner with the Greek Freak, the Milwaukee Bucks, NBA, 2-time All-Star, has just bought into the Brisbane Bullets.
Very nice.
He's bought into the Australian basketball franchise NBL. I thought that was interesting because it's a good thing for Australian sport. Victor Oladipo, who currently plays for the Miami Heat, he's also bought into the NBL. I think that's exciting for Australia.
It is. In which one? LaMelo Ball played in last season, I believe, right before he got drafted. One of the guys who's taken Storm to the NBA at the moment. Like, he played in the NBL.
Did he?
He played in the NBL for a short period of time. I can't remember the exact stint, but he had a stint in the NBL.
He would have pulled while in Australia. Wow. He would have pulled.
Pull up threes?
Probably that as well. Sorry, that's not what I was thinking.
I know where your head's at, Luke.
No, I'm just saying,
I mean, I'm sure he would have done very well for himself.
Irrelevant.
But it shows that American market, which is the biggest basketball market there is interested in the Australian one. And
yeah, we got plenty going on here.
Expansion.
There's plenty to happen here as well. We don't have the same market, of course. So there's plenty for them to grow into. And these professional players, what better to spend your money on than a sport you love in a country that's learning to love it? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I think it's exciting. I said it. I drew, in my mind, the comparison to soccer because you've got, I don't know soccer, but you've got the EPL, you've got the Bundesliga, you've got La Liga. There's a lot of other leagues.
A couple of big European leagues. But most of them, there's only 2 other ones that are massively followed. Yeah.
So, because in basketball, it's just the NBA at the moment. Can that change and can the NBA turn into something like that? To me, that's interesting and is, not that I'm buying a NBL franchise, but is Australian basketball on the rise? Is it coming up?
We need
Is that what we're pulling our money into?
We need a little bit more in the way of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then we definitely need to get kids around it from the get-go. I mean, if we are really hell-bent...
Cramp on the show.
Cramp. This is what happens. See,
we've salt. Sodium, please.
Yeah.
I've got peanut butter in my bag if you would like. Get those salt levels up.
I also got peanut butter in the cupboard, so if you need that.
Well, there you go. Fair enough.
We've been training too much. Been doing too many stupid things. You're getting into your training though.
I will be, yes.
Have you started?
I haven't started yet. No.
You got it.
We're
trying to get him into something. We don't know.
Well, no, hang on. He's committed.
I do need to start training because it'll be a very long run if I do not start doing anything.
Exactly.
It'll be a very long, brisk walk if I do
Actually, shit. I did think of this after we recorded the podcast, and now is probably the even worse time to bring it up.
Go for it.
Because we've talked about finances, but the cost of entering the run is $180.
Easy money.
Well, that's going to have to go to my Smile account. Fun money.
Just put it aside. It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
It's a lot of money, but...
Is it though?
Well, it is. I mean, you could also just go for a 42.2 kilometre run down in the park.
Depends on what you guys want to do. We could drive somewhere and go running. We could do Lamington Park 42 kilometre run.
I mean, I sort of want to do the marathon because it is a bit of a thing.
Yeah, look, $180. It's okay.
Yeah.
In July too.
July, yeah.
Got some time.
We can budget for that.
Can not, cut back on the extra payment to the car. That's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
I've made a pledge now.
Yeah, you got to do it.
That was
we all said that we would
on the
do
internet too. Like, I can't just back out of this one. Jesus
no, this
Christ.
is legit.
And remember what I said in episode 0? If 3,000 people walked into your kitchen,
I'm calling the police.
You would literally be shitting yourself. So when 200 people sit here and watch you go, yep, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You got to fucking do it. You don't have a choice now. You're stuck.
Could you imagine? Oh, yeah, no. I want to do it too.
Good.
No headphones.
Can we talk about something too?
Go on.
Because I feel like we've misled people. I'm sorry. We talked about your keto.
Yeah.
You're a fake.
What do you mean I'm a fake?
You're a fake.
Oh. I think that's
How many days in the last 7 have you actually followed a keto diet?
4, I would say.
4 out of 7. So 3 you've broken it.
Why'd you break them? Start with that.
I just want to break this down. Are they consecutive days?
Yeah, 4 days consecutive.
4 consecutive.
And 3 days were a bit
And
rough.
it takes 3 to 4 days to get into ketosis.
That's the truth, yeah.
So you've potentially gotten into it and left it straight away. In the door, out the door.
Ooh.
Potentially.
Not potentially, you have.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I didn't use the P strip to see if I was in it yet. But yeah, potentially. It could have been a...
So we've got no evidence that you're actually even in it.
What caused it? Well, the Saturday night dinner triggered it. But Monday night noodle box.
Oh, dude.
I know. It's trashy, but it's great.
No, it's not.
It's delicious.
It's actually just trashy.
It's delicious.
No, you definitely just got to get back into it and just go hard.
I'm back into it today.
You've got to go to Saturday dinner this weekend and just be like, I'm sorry, guys. Here's my meal. And bring it in a Tupperware container. Be fully committed. Get it like 2 weeks straight. Lock it down. Get the ketosis going.
My issue is I don't think you're actually in ketosis.
Not right now.
I'm not even sure you've ever been in
thinktosis.
it. Like I'm at thinktosis.
Well, I mean, the first week dropped like 4 kilos. I don't think that happens outside of ketosis.
It can. It definitely can when you cut out carbs. It
Go to
definitely
the toilet
can.
one time in my diet and you've lost 4 kilos.
That's a good 800 grams right there for me.
No, you've got to get back into it, dude.
I'm back into it today. I'm
and stay with it for like weeks.
I will.
Is he making a pledge
through the week?
Be careful with what he says now.
Saturday night dinner. I will make no promises, but I will think about your proposal.
Can we get pee strips? Like I actually just want it.
I just need to go to a chemist on the way home.
On the podcast, week after week after week.
Sunday pee.
Can we actually? Yeah. Can we do like check-ins?
We'll check in definitely. We're going to keep
you
on track.
but fundamentally, it's my diet, mate.
No, agree. But like, it's not a keto diet. Is sort of what I'm trying to understand.
Ketogenic themed diet.
It's a theme, fucking theme.
Well, yeah. Look, ideally, I like to do it properly, but
it's like a Bernie Madoff diet. Fucking fraud.
You're
a fraud.
We're hypocrites. Human beings are hypocrites. Anyone who says differently is lying to you. But
we are the easiest person to lie to.
What, ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm not lying to myself. I'm very honest with myself.
Oh, he was.
He lied to us.
He said
he lied to us, which is worse.
When did I lie to you?
We definitely said you're going to stick on a 6-to-1 diet.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah, actually, he did say that.
I said 6 and 1, but
he did say that.
You know what it is. You know how it is.
He'll get back into it. We'll force him into it. Don't you guys worry.
I don't make a pledge about this.
I'm not even betting on this guy anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I am. I'm backing you to the moon.
Like GameStop, we're going straight to the moon.
It's a volatile bet.
I don't know.
It's very fucking volatile.
I'm glad you're taking
high
it.
risk, high return. Anyway.
Impulse control.
Anyway, I guess that's enough for today's episode, today's show.
End on a good note, eh?
Yeah, well.
The good note is you're going to delve back into the ketosis.
I'm back in it already. I reckon I'm already in ketosis.
You're not in ketosis.
I'm already
You're not in ketosis.
No, you're not.
Intermittent fasting. Oh, no, I didn't. I had a coffee in the morning, which can break it, but that's all right.
Dude, you got it. Yeah.
Anyway.
You'll get back into it.
Thanks for watching. Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us. Like, comment, subscribe. Double tap that... double tap. Hit that bell notification. That's important. get first information when we release the new episodes. It'll be Tuesdays, it'll be Fridays as well, 6 o'clock. That's what we're going to aim for. We're going to try and keep it consistent.
Yeah,
just
consistency.
To
Make it nice for you guys.
Consistency is key, just like diets.
That's it. So then we can hit our 8 episodes, but don't even talk to me about diets right now.
We're not starting
I
that
don't. We're trying to end the episode.
But guys, big thank you to those who shared the content. Like, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, thanks for just tuning in. We'll be catching you next time.
That's it.
Ciao.